and welcome to No Shortcuts. Today I wanted to talk about something that I learned about while reading the Adaptation. It's written by a guy named Lao Tzu, and in this book he talks about many teachings of the Taoist belief. I'm going to read this part of the book that really stuck out to me. It says, under the title heading, "The Use of What Has No Substantive Existence." The 30 spokes unite in the one nave, but it is on the empty space for the axle that the use of the wheel depends. Clay is fashioned into vessels, but it is on their empty hollowness that their use depends. The door and windows are cut out from the walls to form an apartment, but it is on the empty space within that its use depends. Therefore, what has a positive existence serves for profitable adaptation, and what has not that for actual usefulness. Now, the main topic that I wanted to talk about today is that profitable adaptability. Now, in life it's very easy to want to know who you are. We want to kind of nail down the aspects of our personality and our identity. I think what Lao Tzu is talking about in this section of the Tao Te Ching really opened my eyes onto why identifying and nailing down exactly who I am and what I'm here for can be unuseful. Now, what he's saying in this verse is that a cup is a structure, but the usefulness of the cup depends on the emptiness that is within it. A shallower cup cannot hold as much liquid. Same with an apartment. If you think of buying a house or an apartment, you look into the space, as soon as you start filling up the space, the usefulness of that apartment starts to diminish. It does not mean that you can't fill up the space with things. It just means that the more you fill it up with things, the less usefulness it provides, because it is no longer adaptable to new things. I think this is important when thinking about our own identities. We want to fill it up with what we believe ourselves to be. And I think that's dangerous, because as soon as we fill up that apartment, or ourselves, our minds, and aspects of our identity, we put on these labels that fill up that empty space and no longer allows us to be adaptable. If I identify only as friendly, that inhibits me from being unfriendly, or even in some aspects assertive. When we fill up that space and clutter that space with aspects of ourselves that we want to be a part of our identity, it really prohibits us from becoming and from growing and developing and adapting to our situations. It's unfortunate, because we often want the answers to who we are, and that's something that we constantly seek and are constantly trying to find. And I think that's admirable. I just want to warn you that as I've tried to nail down who I am and come to conclusions about what I want to be, how I want to be seen, things like that, I'll adapt a part of me and say, this is who I am. And then what happens, A, when that gets taken away, or B, when I discover that there's other aspects of myself that I want. Oftentimes those can become incongruent, and that incongruency can cause confusion and can really derail your potential. For example, I was very set on being in the military because of the aspects of my personality. I envied strength and wanted to pursue aspects that the military embodied. Now, I kept that in my body and in my mind and in myself as part of my identity. That inhibited me from seeing that there were other potentials to reach what I wanted to reach, which ultimately the things I wanted to reach was to help and support people. I believed that, and still do, that military is a way to do that, but it's not the only way. So when you adapt those characteristics to yourself, be aware that as you adapt those, the bigger that thing is, or the more space that takes up in your consciousness, it can clutter you, it can prohibit you from developing and adapting to new scenarios, new situations. Identity is something that I like to think and talk about a lot. Many of us believe that we are one person. I believe that we are constantly changing, we are constantly growing. If you talk to victims of violence or incredible accidents that lose limbs or lose ability to walk, move, speak, complete burn victims, things like that, when you hear them talk about it, it does not inhibit them from being who they are. It changes some things, but it doesn't inhibit it. An athlete that's an athlete becomes paralyzed, it doesn't mean he's completely different, completely changed. It means the aspects of his personality now need to adapt. It's important to keep those spaces open so that when those trials come, when those curveballs come in life, that we can adapt to those situations. Don't be so concerned with who you are right now. Think of who you can become, your potential, the things that you desire, and really expound on those. Look for opportunities of growth and not finite explanations of why you do things. Thanks so much for watching No Shortcuts today. I would encourage you to talk about what you heard today, what you heard me talk about today, with someone else, a friend or stranger, maybe a family member. We don't really care much about likes or subscribers here on this channel, but we do want you to take this conversation into the real world. Thanks so much for watching. Have a wonderful day.